Thank you. Hello, thank you very much for being here to share with me the joy of speaking about architecture. A few words just to contextualize mentally the project. At 2010, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Turkey decided to collaborate with so-called renowned architects in Turkey for their foreigner mission buildings. And this project is the first of that operation, which is still ongoing. We must confess, we are architects, and talking between us, I think they took a kind of a risk, because with this kind of architects, it's not easy to develop a project. And because those are a kind of representative spaces, and with strict programs, then when I got the commission, I was a bit feeling uncomfortable about that. This is the residence of the embassy in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Just to give an idea about the location of Mongolia and about the surrounding of the city, I would like to show these two images. When I got there for the first time, I was a bit surprised. I was waiting for not a very well-structured city, but I was a bit surprised seeing that they were still living on, you can recognize the white dots. They were still living in the city, at the edges of the city, in the tents, which they call ger. It was that harsh, the relationship between the downtown, which is a bit geometrically urbanized, but not as an urban life, and the nomadic way of living was so close one to the other. And at the beginning of any project, I try to ask, if possible, one question. To me, the question was, here I've got two. The first one is how to design, to conceive a building in a city, but which has not a strong urban context. That was the main problem to deal with. And the second problem was to design a residence which is not just a house, just a residence, being a representational space as well. Then you can see the actual urban image that in the city, then you can see the new developments. There was not even a couple of ordinary buildings that we are familiar with. They were too many kind of, not bidonville, but this kind of small agglomeration of volumes or spaces, and they jump to so-called iconic stuff. Then I tried to find a way. I was not being part of both. Then I must find a way to be right at the center of those two tendencies, those two realities. That was the hardest thing to deal with. This is our plot and the building. We were surrounded by the Japanese embassy, Bulgarian embassy, Czech Republic's embassy, and it was a kind of diplomatic neighborhood. The second difficulty to deal with was that the plot was not very comfortable as a size, very comfortable to fit in. The program was strictly 2,000 square meters, but the plot was doing 1,700 square meters. Then we had to find a compact solution for the plants. And, you know, it's not just a residential building, but a building that, in a way, represents culturally a nation. Then, at the beginning, you have difficulties to fine-tuning this issue. But as I usually do, I could solve the problem by concentrating strictly on the program. And that's a tool that I use frequently, and it works. And it was the same thing, the same adventure for that case as well. Then I stick to the program, trying to forget that this was a representational building, and try to deal with purely technical problems. Then that's why right at the beginning, we created a courtyard, and we split the private life of the ambassador and the spaces for the receptions in the section by having the semi-public space for the receptions at the ground floor, and upstairs the real home for the ambassador. Then we created for the formal spaces, the enfilades, and having the courtyard right at the center. We tried to interpret the spaces and the sections three-dimensionally. Well, we have the other reality was the extreme climatic conditions. During winter, even me, I experienced once -43. It's extremely cold during the winter and very hot during the summer. Then by using, instead of making war against these climatic conditions, we accepted them and tried to find solutions to overcome. And that's why we had a pitched roof. That's why to protect the facade, we a bit exaggerated the roof. And the program of the first floor was a bit complicated and bigger than the ground floor. Then we solved the problem by using the bay windows. And then during summertime, it's hot. We had to control the light, the sunlight. That's why we tried to create some semi-open transitional spaces for making use during the summertime. Then with balconies, shaded parts, and at the basement we had the services. It was that simple to divert the public life and the services and the private life in the section. We used an extremely simple concrete structure with 50 centimeter thick walls because of the extreme climatic conditions. Then we played on a simple, repetitive spaces, just rectangles, as you can see. Because in the city, we wanted to create kind of a reference building. That simple, repetitive, without trying to say that it is present, not at all iconic, but having a presence, a physical presence in the city. And because we don't have a big plot, then just little tricks that we used to enlarge our presence was, instead of having just the facade of the building expressed, we elongated the facade at the ground floor by using the colonnades from one side to the plot to the other. And that's what we had. That we used the stone and the precast structure, not the structure, but constructional elements at the facade. The stone was imported from Turkey because, you know, Turkey has a variety of natural stones. Then it was the only thing that was asked to do from the ministry to make use of Turkish building materials, and except that, then we've been free to express ourselves, which I was, at the beginning of the project, was thinking that I will not be able, and it was a very interesting and nice experience to me. Just to compare my obsession with context, I would like to show you my second project to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which will be under construction in 1 month time. 4 images, just to show you that depending on the context, with the same client and with the same program, my answer can change drastically. This is the project in Strasbourg, France. having the same program plus another building for the offices for the permanent delegation of Turkey at the European Council. Then at the left, I have the residence. At the center, the consulate. At the right one is the permanent delegations building. Then in this case, I use the Grey de Vosges, the local natural stone for the main facades. The Turkish ceramics in turquoise color for the back facade. And to integrate the building to the context, then I play with the scales. Thank you very much. That's all.